one thing we learned is that racism is here. Racism is here, um, and it's probably here to stay. Which is, it's not like good or bad. It just is. The issue has been not that racism is here. The issue has been the denial of racism. People of color have denied that racism exists to a point. People of non-color have denied that racism exists to a point. We we fooled ourselves. Like we wanted to so believe that change exists, particularly after the civil rights era, the 60s and the 70s, because we've heard stories of the horrific past with racial issues between people of color, people of non-color, the violence, the rapes, the wars, the injustices, the police. And we wanted to believe desperately that that was something from the past. And in part, we wanted to believe it's something from the past because we couldn't really fathom that people existed like that people suffered in that way, that lived in such danger, that were so oppressed. We couldn't believe that of the people of color, and then of the people of non-color. We couldn't believe, and even the culture itself, the same way. They just couldn't believe that people would act in such a way that would be so violent, that would be so hateful, so angry towards another. We wanted to separate ourselves from that. So after the civil rights, which is 50, 60 years away from us, we wanted to believe that that solved everything, that we were on the right track. We had quotas and we were among people of different cultures, so that must have solved things. Or we saw various people on TV, or we saw athletes, or we saw entertainers. So we wanted to believe that it was behind us. So what we did is we ignored it. We ignored the signs of what we saw. We ignored that when we were on the job place and we were alienated. We tried to say that that was just a one situation, but it kept happening over and over again. When we were discriminated, we wasn't paid the same. We tried to say it was a one situation, but this kept happening again. Or when people didn't value each other's opinions, or the situation goes on and on. We just denied it. We was like, there's no way that we're living like that. That was a long time ago. Things are better. And not only when things are better, we believed one another. We believed when people of non-color said that they wasn't racist, that things were better. We believed them, and we wanted to believe them. And the vast majority of them, it is true. But as we saw, though, through the Trump era, which was a gift to all of us Americans, is that it is not true. Racism is alive. Racism was always alive. And the problem is that people of color suffered in silence. They suffered behind the scenes. They were brutalized behind the scenes in different ways. The one thing that came to the surface was police brutality, but even then, police have been brutalizing people of color for years. So it's like an underground thing that people of color talk about it among each other all the time. I mean, they have conversations with their children, teaching children the best way to survive with police. How sad is that? You're teaching your child, when you get pulled over by a police officer who's supposed to protect you, that this is how you protect yourself from this person, because you don't know what's going to happen. So we fooled ourselves until here we are in the present moment. And this is a good thing, because moving forward, all of our eyes are open. People of color's eyes are open. People of non-color's eyes are open. We all see it now for what it is. And because we see it, we can tackle it together. And that's what we're doing. I see businesses tackling it together and having more of understanding, consulting with one another, people of color consulting with people of non-color and vice versa, to figure out how to get through this. And they're having more of understanding of what people of color have been through these last few years. Because really, all of us have been in denial. Yes, we experience things, people of color, but for the most part, we've been in denial of what we've been experiencing and what is out there. But we're not in denial anymore. And since we see what's out there, we're able to move forward. We're able to have those conversations. We're able to protect ourselves. And the same with people of non-color. They're able to have more of an understanding so that the people who are true racists aren't able to hide in organizations and do harm to valuable employees or valuable people, regardless of what their nationality are.